Hello and welcome to another week of Monday with the Mayor. I'm Bradford Raths, and we're back in Jasper with Terry Seitz.
Hi, Bradford.
Let's start with the country club. We had the Imagine the Possibilities tour. Let's talk about the tour.
Well, the tour was fine, and I positioned myself in a little odd place just down from the parking lot of Clubhouse 61, knowing that that 58 acres is a lot to walk, even if you follow cart paths. And what I found out was very interesting. I saw only about 10 people, and yet I've got about 60 different surveys that were filled out. So a lot of people didn't find the mayor. It's kind of like, where's Waldo? And it tells me that, again, they got involved in things. They looked at the land. It's a good piece of property if you really can't see it all on one walking tour, and we think that's good. But an asset to the city, very nice, very hilly, beautiful, a lot of beautifuls, possibilities. These are words used to describe, which is what we asked for. Relaxing, vision, stunning, picturesque, open, peaceful, valuable, great. So again, we've got a lot of that, and there were other questions to answer, but ultimately we thought it went very well. We thought people kind of shared with us that there is a great understanding of its value as an asset to the city. Probably certainly even more indication than previous at the public meeting that passive uses, and certainly passive uses I think would understand could include things that would be a very magnificent playground area or something unusual that some would consider to be active, but as it fits into the property. I think that's critical, that things fit, that there is a purpose and understanding. And we've really embraced that, and we're very grateful for the people. I understand that the park department's going to make a recommendation to me, or they're going to let me know of a recommendation they'll decide on to perhaps open the 15th Street gates and kind of limit access to where you can drive or park, but also probably looking at have that being a possibility for being open for walking. That's some of the things they got. And again, we have had zero difficulty there this summer from people that would be doing anything malicious, and which is what we expect. And I think that's really good. So hopefully the park department will make that announcement or let me know, and I'll make it, and we'll see what's up. But tentatively, that's the plan.
Certainly a big development there. And another big development we had is Beaver Lake. Let's talk more about that.
Well, Beaver Lake is actually developed. Let me tell you where we're at. We had a report on Thursday this past week of basically the forensic study, the engineering forensic study of the existing engineering work. As you know, Beaver Lake had a new spillway installed over the course of 2010, 2011, 2012, and ultimately it left us, believe it or not, with the lake levels lower than what people believe they should be. And ultimately, we agreed there was some discrepancy, perhaps anywhere from 7.5 to 11 inches or so. And it's very noticeable back into the fingers of that lake. Let me give you a little background. Beaver Lake was built as a watershed project for the city of Jasper as a backup water supply. We draw our water from the Patoka Reservoir, but in the 60s and late 50s and 60s, it was built to be able to give a backup to that. It eventually then became a recreational use lake as well, but fundamentally remains part of the dam and spillway are part of our water utilities. The park department ended up taking over the shoreline more or less as far as use of that, and there are private landowners surrounding that as well as the city. We were advised as far back in 1988 that sooner or later we're going to have to replace the spillway. And then the criteria for doing so simply became daunting later to where we had to replace it. It was mandated that we had to replace it. We didn't have any funding for it. It was about $3.5 million project, ultimately secured some federal and state grants, of which we're grateful, but we put in about maybe say $350,000 to $500,000 of our water utilities money to build a new spillway. What happened? And we look at this, and again, why is the water low? We got a report from the engineers who did the study of this project, Morley and Associates, and two things we're sure of. The current spillway is within an inch, and we knew that it was going to be at least an inch lower because they came in during the process, and that was their mark. They didn't quite get it to where it technically could have been. So within an inch of where the spillway has been since the dam was built. The other thing is we have learned, and we had some suspicion of this, is that rather than the spillway holding up and basically creating the water level of Beaver Lake all these years, the channel, a very narrow 28-foot channel, had actually created a level of the lake. And that channel, over the period of time, became clogged, inhibited, or the levels changed accordingly to what was in the channel. And it's likely that Beaver Lake, for many, many years, decades, has had an artificial level of water. Now that the spillway is with a W-shaped 500 feet instead of 28, we're getting a true level of that lake. I do want to compliment Wayne Sheeter, the Utility Service Board chairperson, for at Thursday's public meeting, of which was attended by many Beaver Lake people, to say that we will look at, and though make no promises at this time to correct that, we will look at it. Can we do something? What would it cost? Can we afford to do it? Would we, and I said as mayor, would we have to make assessments? I'm not sure that this is only a city issue, but perhaps those that use the lake recreationally could play a role. And that's no guarantee. We don't know, one, what could be done, if it could be solved, and at what cost. But we are going to look at those things, and that's what came out of yesterday's Water Committee meeting. There'll be a recommendation to explore what could be done at Monday's Utility Service Board meeting.
Moving ahead, we've had it's been a big year for business around the city of Jasper.
It has. As you know, we've had over the course of the last year and a half, we've had several manufacturers or logistic companies or in industries look at some tax phase-in requests through the city. But I want to acknowledge the vibrancy of our retail sector and commercial sector. The Chamber of Commerce, which is a pretty good bellwether for these things, has had nearly 30 ribbon cuttings this year. I've attended, I think, all but one, and I'm going to miss an upcoming one that's just been moved, but ultimately we're very happy for those. We have several more scheduled. We'll be over 30. Now, they don't get them all, so we know that we will have probably maybe anywhere between 30 and 40 new businesses or businesses recognizing an expansion or re-grand opening or something during this year in the city of Jasper. And not everyone even marks those occasions. They just kind of open their door for business, and we're happy about those too. So I guess we maybe altogether be close to 50 new businesses in Jasper this year of all kinds, and we're very happy. We do laud those projects, and it goes through the city when you have the what we consider the major ones, but I consider those that have 1, 2, 3, or have entrepreneur-based approach to business and go on their own. It's how wonderful. We're just delighted to have had them in our business community and strengthen our economy.
So business certainly booming. Mayor, thank you once again. This has been Monday with the Mayor. We'll have more news right after this.